What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of High Mythology, the show where we get higher than the front row at Woodstock, the good one in the 60s, and tell you guys silly stories from mythology and folklore.
Nice.
Today, we will be bringing you the second in our O.G.s of Greece series, the Tale of Orpheus. It's he's the man who made music. So it's gonna be a little interesting here. Go ahead and take it away there, Kim.
Sweet.
Kimbo.
Let's see. So Orpheus is most known for the great tragedy that consumed his later life and the tasty sweet jams that he was always blasting.
Tasty sweet.
His father was Auragus, the king of Thrace, and his mother was a muse, Calliope.
Calliope.
Calliope, I think.
Calliope.
Anyway,
yeah,
she was the lead one. When he was born, no mortal had yet made music, which had been created, but it was only for the gods to make.
Greedy bastards.
And at that point, yes, they were. And at that point in time, all the gods were jamming out. Athena had made the jazz flute, but refused to play it because she hates jazz. Hermes had made the lyre, which we covered in the previous episode, and gave it to Apollo, who shredded so hard all the Olympians forgot what they were doing.
What the fuck was I doing?
Hermes made himself a shepherd's pipe, whose smooth, soft sounds drifted across the meadows. And Pan made a flute made of reeds tied together and started selling CDs in the strip mall.
With a whole group. You know, the Peruvian pan flute CD.
Nice.
Yeah.
Even the muses were known to make their own temptation thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aretha Franklin.
Nice. One day, in his youth, Orpheus was out walking, and he came upon Apollo playing his lyre. He was so captivated, and he asked Apollo what the fuck it was that was making all that beautiful music. Or noise, beautiful noise. Apollo gifted him the lyre and taught him how to play it, and from that point, music spread throughout the mortal world. However, none would slay so hard as Orpheus.
It's funny, too, to think about that. Like, you know, I've been blown away by walking in on someone who's playing, like, new music that I haven't heard before. That just blows my mind. Like, oh my god, what is that? Could you imagine if no one had ever heard music at all? And you just walked in on music, you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
I felt that way about hip-hop and rock when it came out. But I mean, I wasn't around, but my mom made me listen to like fucking weird shit like Elvis growing up anyway, so.
That just gave me a whole different image. He comes up on fucking Apollo and he's just rapping. Apollo spits hot bars like the sun.
Okay, so it was said that his jams were so tasty that the trees would stretch out towards it just to get a better listen. Rivers would divert themselves to try to get some kind of front row action, and the birds would fall silent as to not interrupt him.
Yeah.
His tunes were known to be one of the greatest gifts any mortal man possessed, and these were the days of Hercules. Hercules.
Same dude,
Whatever.
Different pronunciation.
He was often known to use his music to his advantage, staving off wild animals or calming the hearts of enraged men. His talents were even so great that he was invited on the greatest quest of the ancient world, the quest for the Golden Fleece.
The Golden Fleece!
But we're going to get into that in a few more weeks here. What Orpheus was really known for is what came after. A story so sad that the term the Orpheus tale is a term used similar dramas from around the world.
Yeah, there's all kinds of Orpheus tales from around the world.
Mm-hmm.
A couple we've even done, I think.
Yeah. Similar, very similar. The Shinto, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I lost my place. You talk too much. Okay. Sometime after the quest for the Golden Fleece, clearly this OG lime killer weed is
some OG killer.
Definitely killing it. Orpheus fell in love. Being the first rock star ever, it is said that all of the women of the world wooed for him, but he only had eyes for one, the beautiful and kind Eurydice.
I also like to imagine that, just like people trying to figure out what's exactly going on, not having ever known music, just all the girls talking like, is it weird, or when he plays that, do you just want to like throw your panties at him?
Is that what Elvis was like? Elvis was the fucking reincarnation of Orpheus.
They just don't understand. They're like, this is good. For some reason, I need to throw my panties at this guy.
And I can't help but cry when he sings.
I can't help but cry when he sings.
Yeah. Is that what the Jonas Brothers had to go through?
Oh,
Justin Bieber. Oh my God.
He just got fangirls all over him. No, babe.
So anyway, their love was the stuff of legends, literally, and they were soon married.
Where is it? Which one?
All right.
I was a little late on that. Late.
Very late. Not long after their marriage, Eurydice was walking in a meadow, and she was set upon by a lustful satyr. The satyr was chasing her and trying to rape her, and to escape, she fell into a pit of vipers, and she was bitten and died.
Yeah.
Now, I heard a different version of this where the fucking farmer just found her sleeping in his meadows, and he was like waking her up, be like, "Hey, bitch, what you doing out here?"
She's sleeping in the
freaked
meadow.
out. She took off running, and as she was running, she was bitten by a snake that she just didn't notice on the ground.
Yeah. I like to think that both versions are true.
Mine was the nicer one.
Yeah.
Orpheus found her body and was stricken with grief. He played the saddest song that had ever been made, and it caused everyone to weep. The gods, the trees, the sky, everything. Hearing his sorrow, the muses, well, depending on the story, sometimes it's the nymphs or even Hera herself, come and tell him to journey down to the underworld to seek out his lost love. So he sets off playing his lyre and singing the whole way. As he came to the underworld, the great guard pooch Cerberus was calmed by his soothing tunes. Some even say that Cerberus even allotted a belly rub from the great Orpheus.
No, pooch belly rub.
He's
just a big old three-headed pooch.
Mm-hmm. The relentless spinning wheel of Ixion stopped spinning at the sound of the lyre, and it was still on fire, even though no rest for the wicked, you know?
Yeah. That is a funny one. Of all the guys who get like a good break when Orpheus comes, he's the only one where it's like his wheel stopped spinning.
But it's still on fire.
He's still burning, though. It's like, what's that sound? Ow! I'm still on fire!
Sisyphus took a rest from his rolling boulder, and Tantalus forgot his thirst. It is even said that for the first and only time in histories, the Furies smiled, which I'm sure is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, they're fucking Grim Reaper smiles.
You ready for your line here, Sin?
Oh, just about, yeah.
All right, so Orpheus made it all the way to the throne of Hades, where the god of the underworld and his bride Persephone sat. And he threw down a hot jam to warm their cold hearts. It goes a little something like this.
Oh, gods who rule the dark and silent world, to all of you born of woman's needs must come. All lovely things at last go down to you. You are the debtor who is always paid. A little while we tarry up on earth, then we are yours forever and forever. But I seek one who came to you soon. The bud was plucked before the flower bloomed. I tried to bear my loss, I could not bear it. Love was too strong a god. O king, you know, if the old tale men tell is true, how once the flower saw the rape of Persephone. Jeez, I didn't read up to the rape of Persephone before, so... Then weave again, for sweet Eurydice, life's pattern that was taken from the loom too quickly. I see, ask a little thing, only you lend, not give her to me, so she shall be yours when her year span life is full.
Nice Tom Petty impersonation. That was great. So no one could deny him after hearing that sweet serenade.
Yeah. I like to imagine they're just sitting there like, is he done? Yeah. Can we just give him his girl and let him go?
Well, Tom Petty is very popular.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And he's got a lot of the same lyrics.
Yeah. Bob Dylan. Same
Bob
there.
Dylan.
Yeah. Bob Petty.
Bob Petty. And Hades decided to grant him his wish. They brought Eurydice to him to take him home. on one condition. No matter what, was not allowed to look back at her until they together reached the upper world. They climbed and climbed until they reached the top, and as soon as he stepped out into the light, Orpheus turned back to check on her. But she was not out yet. He barely caught a glimpse of her before she was sucked back into the underworld. He rushed back after her, but it was too late, and she was stuck. Back down. Sucked back down. Like a vacuum.
Like a vacuum.
With the spirit. And the gods, I like to imagine some kind of Ghostbuster system. Yeah. And the gods forbade him from returning until his death. Now, I also heard that he couldn't hear her or she wouldn't respond. And after like a while, like he was just right there by the fucking entrance. It was like 25 fucking feet away and he turned around to look at her. Yeah. She was indeed there.
Yeah, there's a couple like that where, she, because she also wasn't allowed to talk to him, so he wanted to make sure she was safe. There was another one that said he heard the sound of her slipping, like one of the fucking boulders on the path cut loose, and so he turned around to make sure she was okay.
Oh, that's nice of him, but still.
Yeah, but okay. Still. Yeah. I like to imagine, Hades just standing there with the dustbuster, just waiting for her.
Just suck back in.
Yeah, she's going back down.
After she was lost, he gave up on humanity. He became a wandering hermit and only played his music for the rocks and trees. He gave up on worship of all the gods except for Apollo, who he still thanked for the gift of music.
I don't play music anymore. I just write jams for Apollo and Jimi Hendrix.
One day, while he was out wandering, a group of mad Dionysus worshippers came upon him. They went full-on psycho and killed him, and then tore his body into a bunch of pieces and threw his head into the Hebrus River. Hebrus.
Yeah, that's just a super fucked up because of the story. It does just come out of nowhere. Like he's just wandering around, and then out of nowhere they're like, "We're fucking crazy! We're gonna rip you apart with our bare hands."
His head eventually came to rest upon the island of Lesbos, where the Muses found it and buried it in a sanctuary. His body parts were eventually found, and they were also laid to rest in a tomb at the base of Mount Olympus. Some stories say that afterwards he and his wife were reunited in Hades. However, some say that he was also brought to Mount Olympus to live amongst the gods as their personal music box.
Which I feel like that would be the most fucked up fate ever for him. Because, at that point, it sounds like towards the end of his life, he's like, I'm done performing for people. I'm just going to wander, do my own thing. And then he dies, and he's like, finally, I get to go see Eurydice. The gods are like, no, come up to Olympus.
No. Yeah.
Apollo's having a birthday party. We're going to need you to play it.
Yeah, we need a DJ for Apollo and Artemis's fucking birthday.
You can still
double.
You can still perform your hit song, "Oh Gods Who Rule the Silent World," right?
Yeah.
But here it is. Can I perform all along the watchtower instead?
All right, so from the point where he is married until he comes back from Hades, the underworld, or whatever, is what historians call the Orpheus tale. This particular story, the story can be found under the name Orpheus and Eurydice as well, but all the other stories from across the globe are eerily similar. For instance, you listen to our Shinto creation stories. There's one in there. Mm-hmm. Another good example is the story of the Tachi-yokuts.
Tachi-yokut.
Tachi-yokut. A Native American tribe from the Sierra Nevada mountains, and their version is called The Visit to the Dead. The Visit to the Dead tells the story of a Taichi man whose wife dies. Tachi is a man whose wife dies. I keep saying Taichi like there's a fucking eye in there. Sorry. Depending on the story, it is either by snake bite or he kills her by accident. After her death, he is stricken with grief, and so he digs a hole next to her grave and lays down in it. On the third night of laying in the hole, he sees his wife's spirit get up from the grave and begin walking to an island of the dead. He follows her close enough to cross the bridge behind her and makes it there, only to be stopped by the chief of the deads. The chief reluctantly allows him to stay and the party with him after seeing his dancing skills.
Oh yeah, that's something I in the writing I forgot to mention early on, but that's another thing that ties it ties it to the Orpheus myth is that in a lot of these similar myths, all of the people who go on this quest to the world of the dead are also known for some type of creative arts.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah,
Tachi
yeah.
man wasn't,
They all gotta
he
be
wasn't
artsy.
just any Tachi man, he was
Yeah.
the best dancer in the world, which dancing to them was a big,
Oh, fuck yeah, it was.
big
It's
thing. It was
huge.
as big as music was.
That's
to
how
the
you
Greeks.
fucking... It was their way of offerings to the gods.
Yeah.
Rather than blood sacrilegious sacrifice
Yeah.
and shit like that, they did dancing and,
Yeah.
and music for them.
Yeah. And so being the best dancer automatically, you know, it's like,
Gets you
it's like being
fucking
an Orpheus
VIP.
quality
That's a
musician.
fucking
Yeah.
NBA player right there. You
Yeah.
don't fucking mess with it. You give him anything he wants.
I like to imagine he also just moonwalked across the bridge of the dead, and that's how they let him in.
Nice.
He just stopped at the other side, and he's like, how is he going to cross? And he spun around. Just cut it in backwards.
Oh.
Busted the splits out at
Young
the end
man,
of it.
your
What?
dancing skills are superb.
Okay, you get to come party with the dead.
He stays for 8 days before realizing that he does not fit in and decides to leave. He begs the chief to let him take his wife, and eventually the chief consents. On one condition. They cannot have sex for 10 days.
Yeah.
That's it, bitch. 10 days.
10 days.
You can't fucking do
10
it.
days, no
God
fucky fucky.
damn. Or she must return to the island of the dead. They agreed and took off back to their home. They did good with their vow until the very last night. Unable to resist any longer, they got it on and then fell asleep in each other's arms. The next morning, when the man awoke, his wife was gone and he was spooning an oak stick, with the chief of the dead watching. Chief explained how he fucked up, and now wouldn't be allowed back to the island into the dead until he was old and it was his time to come.
I think that's funny too, because I also like to imagine him waking up and that first reaction just being like, "Oh my god, how much did I drink last night? Did I fuck this stick?"
Some versions even go as far as the chief telling him that he was never meant to succeed. What is the spirit world cannot?
What is of the spirit world cannot exist in the living world.
And they just wanted to give him one more romp with his wife.
Yeah, he
That sounds really funny.
He was never actually supposed to
Get her back.
Yeah, and because also that's
he's a
why,
man and he can't fucking control his penis.
Well, the way they
in.
talk about it is both of them, and also
wouldn't
because
have worked out anyway.
At that point, you got to think she's been dead. She's been dead for weeks. They've both thought that they're never going to see each other again.
Mm-hmm.
So they're at that point where it's like, you know, we got to do this. Yeah. Probably haven't boned in a month. She just started feeling things again. She's like, oh my god.
I have a clitoris.
I have a clitoris again.
Awesome.
My clitoris grew back.
All right, so there's another Native American version from the Wishram Chinooks. It's a story called Coyote and Eagle Visit the Island of the Dead. Coyote and Eagle are sitting around bullshitting one day, and Coyote is sad because his sister is dead, and he doesn't like things to die. So, side note, in this point of their mythology, anything or person that dies comes back to life in the spring.
Yeah, death only lasts for winter.
Yeah. Carrying on, Eagle is also pissed and tells Coyote that they should just go to the island of the dead and get their friends back. They eventually come to a river where they wait for a night, and because the dead sleep during the day.
Yeah,
okay.
The land of the dead, the island of the dead only exists at night.
Okay. As night falls, a boat comes to pick them up and takes them across to where the chief of the dead gets mad at them, but decides to let them party with their friends for one night. That's nice of them. So the little Karen came over.
Yeah.
What's their fucking version of Karen?
Well, it sounds like, it actually sounds like the way they described it in the myth, it was less like Karen and more like a party barge.
Oh.
Like just a fucking giant canoe with all these dead animals and dead people, all their spirits just partying on the way to the land of the dead.
Listen, Italy, you can really do well if you designed your gondolas with a fucking better barge. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Because also that seems to be
Party
an interesting
gondolas.
thing that the island of the dead from both the Chinook and the other one, the island of the dead, both have a very similar party vibe. Like that's what the dead go is. You just go and you be joyous instead of getting picked up by some scary motherfucker who with a skeleton face on a raft. You get picked up by a bunch of people who are just partying. Like, hop on, grab a fucking drink, pass this motherfucker the peace pipe. We're hitting the island of the dead. It's titties out all night there.
All right. So over the course of the night, a woman with a large basket of food came over and fed them.
Food
and
basket.
They ate and then decided it was time to make their move. They dumped the food out and stuffed the basket with the souls of all their friends, and then they bolted. Bitches. They knew that if they opened the basket before the sun was up, the souls would escape back to the underworld. So they ran and ran, and the people in the basket started to turn back into living beings. Right before the sun rose, Coyote had had enough, and he was tired and thought that they were far enough away. So he opened the basket, and away all the souls flew back to the island of the dead, never to be able to return. One fucked up version says that Coyote did it on purpose so that the dead would stay dead, so that the living could have more food.
Yeah.
Either way, in this myth, the loss of the soul meant that death was now forever.
Yeah, because Coyote was totally a trickster. So that would completely be that kind of move. Because they also say that was the problem with immortality. Then everyone came back every spring.
And Coyote was like, nah, bitches.
And by every winter, that's why so many people would also die, as by every winter, they were completely out of food. So people were starving to death.
So there's also last thing, another Native American version combines the two, having Coyote go to the underworld for his wife, only to bang too early and screw it up. There's other similar tales that exist in Russia, China, South America, and even Polynesia. This story is at least the most compelling moral behind it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Somehow perpetrated its way all the way around the world. And oddly, just like the music and the arts that the heroes in these stories are known for, whether it was a compelling quest for love or that everyone finds relatable, is that it's kind of like the History Channel says. Ancient fucking aliens?
Yeah, it's
really?
It's either that or ancient fucking aliens. Yeah.
Okay, something pushes these stories around the globe, from its supposed origins in Greece and all the way to the coasts of the New World and beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting story.
It is. It's pretty nuts to me how it got all the way around the globe too, because
these people didn't meet each other at all.
No, that's all these civilizations that had no contact, that have almost exactly the same story, like all the same key elements. The hero is the master of the arts. With Coyote,
master of the arts of
with Coyote, they don't talk about them being artists, but he's the one who also in their myth, he's the one who gave the arts to humans.
That's true.
He made the arts. So, it's like he's a god, but he's still like, he's the god of art. So, and that combined with the fact that all of them, every single one of them, fuck it up. Right before they have the opportunity to get them back. Yeah. Yeah, the basket one with Coyote and Eagle was interesting too, because they also literally say that like the basket starts, because they're actually turning back into people in it. So the basket starts getting heavy and filling up, and like limbs are popping out of the basket, and the people inside are starting to complain because they're regrowing back, but they're also like bumping into each other.
Yeah. I got nowhere to grow. Get out of the way.
Yeah, my arm. Okay. Whose arm is that? Whose arm is in my taint?
Who's putting that finger in my butthole?
Yeah, whose finger is in my butt? Wait. Oh, it was my finger. False alarm.
Gnarly.
Yeah, nar. Well, yeah, so sources for this episode, and it's great because I got a lot of the same sources for a lot of these episodes. Horses of sources. My sources are GreekMythology.com. Did use that to, check up on some stuff. Let's see. The Greek Myths on Amazon. It's an Amazon Prime original. Pretty fun watch. The book, Mythology, Timeless Tales of Gods and Heroes by Edith Hamilton, the 75th anniversary edition that references the works of Ovid, Homer, Apollodorus, Euripides, Sophocles, and Plutarch. And then also, what was it?
Like, subscribe,
Like and
comment.
subscribe. No, there was another source for the native myths. NativeAmericanMyths.com.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a pretty...
Or .org. Sorry,
.org.
it was a .org. That was where I was having trouble. I was trying to remember the end of the dot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Was it mythology or myths? But yeah. That was our sources. Hope you folks enjoyed this little Saturday short for you.
Yeah.
Keeping the O.G.s of Greece series going. This is probably going to be the last short for the O.G.s of Greece. The rest of them will all be hella epic, y'all. So
Hold on, there was one more reference. I'm sorry, it was the ancientorigins.com.
Ancientorigins.com.
I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry. I'm the worst about that. I do that all the time.
It's fine. There's we're going to keep going with the series, but they will all be long. So every week you will have a new episode coming. Look forward this upcoming Thursday to the story of Theseus,
Nice.
who is... I didn't know this before I started doing research, but he did so much more than just slaying the Minotaur. That's pretty much all I gave him credit before, was slaying the Minotaur. But yeah, it's gonna be a long one because he does a lot of shit.
Yep.
Again,
like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments.
Check out our other stuff.
Give us any suggestions, and have a good night.
Yep, have a good night, everyone. Nice.